Ciao amici, belli bellissimi. We are here at Guru Canggu. My name is Marco Lastrucci. On my right, my friend Francisco Oliveira. We are recording live this interview of the Guru Talk. On my left, our guest, the beautiful Darinka Montico. Montico, okay. This interview is part of our project, the Guru Talk podcast, the World Meet in Bali. In this series of interview, we're gonna present you some of the great character that we meet during our stay here on the island. We will touch different topics.
You think in Bali there are different amazing characters? You are sure?
If you go around and take a look, you can find some very, very nice guy with beautiful story. That's what we're gonna ask this guy to say, to tell us some of their experience, some of their story, and then we try to understand the way they think, how they manage to live this amazing life and keep dreaming and keep all this passion alive.
Yeah, and inspire people to dream. Yeah.
Because this is the right moment.
Yeah.
We need some inspiration. So, talking about inspiration, here is our guest, Darinka. Brief introduction, yeah?
Yes.
She's Italian. She's a writer. She's an artist, a free thinker, a blogger. But, like we used to say, she's a magical traveler.
Yeah.
So you guess why she's a magical traveler? Well, because she managed to travel for the past 6 years, traveling with bicycle, on a sailboat, walking huge distance, and she also managed to do all of this, writing a book, becoming a blogger, and everything was done. She's part of her project without money.
So she's doing all that without spending money, or spending the less she can, yeah?
The less she can. She's traveling, meeting people, and asking people to help her in this
Do you
project.
believe she's doing that? I don't believe. That's why she's in the chair in the Dirty Podcast. I want to be sure that's true. How can you travel without money? People don't believe there. Let's see if it's true. Okay.
No, we are very happy to have her here.
Good
because
questions.
For me, it's a very nice topic. I
of
love
course,
it.
of course.
So let's start. Are you ready?
I'm ready, sure.
Here we go. Dai.
3, 2, 1.
I would like to start from the beginning of your experience in London.
Yes.
So you left Italy. You were very young.
Yes.
From what I understand, around beginning of 20?
19.
19, so it was 2000, early 2000 here.
I was just the year before, 99, when I left Italy.
Okay, so let's start. Can you give us some of the reason why you decided to start and why you end up in London?
Yeah, so basically I grew up in my hometown in the northwest of Italy. It's a very small town, Baveno, on Lake Maggiore.
Okay.
Very, very beautiful. But let's say the people from there are probably not the most open-minded people. So
I understand.
my mom is Croatian, and I've always been not really fitting in what society used to call as normal. So when I was 14, my dad took me to London just for like a weekend trip with my dad. And
London.
yes, and
Everybody goes to London.
it's the gate. So like when I was at home, sometimes I was a victim of racism because my mom was Croatian and all that. And also like of, just for being slightly different, a creative mind and thinking differently and all that. And when my dad took me to London, I remember the precise moment when it happened. Like I was on the escalator in Leicester Square, and I was just still on the escalator, and beside me you could see people of every race, every color, with any kind of outfit, and nobody really cared. Like in my hometown, if I wear something different, I'll be like, oh,
Pointing
know.
the finger. Pointing the finger.
So in that moment, I understood that the idea, the concept of normality that they made me believe it was universal, it was made up. So when I moved to London, eventually later on I moved into London because I was like, wow, I'm not going to be laughed at, I'm not going to be pointed to, and I can just live there and be me.
So that was the first, the door.
The door.
Open the door and then you...
Yeah.
So you're coming the
Yeah.
escalator of the tube, of the subway.
Yes,
And
yes.
you see all the races coming up and guys from all over the world and see,
It's
we
normal.
Fit. I
Yes.
fit, yeah.
Yeah. So that was the first thing that pushed me. So I said to my dad, as soon as I finish school, I'm going to move here. And that's what happened.
And that's what happened, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you arrive in London and...
Well, I didn't speak a word of English, and I, as everybody, every Italian person I know, when you go there, you don't have much money. You work in an Italian restaurant, so I was a waitress for a while, trying to learn English, but everybody spoke Italian, so I never really learned
That
English.
is the story of the Italians.
Yeah.
At the beginning we all hang out together.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I did, I decided to do a course in art and design, and I entered a dark room, and I really love photography. So then I found a place in the University of Westminster, and I studied photography there.
Oh, that's cool.
So art was a good way of expressing yourself?
It
That's
was-
the way you found to really...
It was fantastic for me because when I was in Italy, I studied to be a receptionist in a hotel because my parents were like, well, we live in a lake. If you want to find a job, the only way you'll find a job is by studying how to work in a hotel. And I never really liked it. I hated all the 5 years I had to study that. Then when I finally was free to do what I wanted, I studied photography, and it was so eye-opening, like, wow, I can really be and express myself and do what I want.
Do you
So,
feel
yeah.
that through art and because you are doing photography, you connect with humans better? Like you as seeing them as they act, or you are more in landscape? What was your kind of approach to art?
I think like to be an artist, it means to be a seeker. So you just question things. You don't accept how things are given to you. I remember the first day, the very first day of university, I had this amazing teacher, and he was telling us, again, back to the concept of normality, like how much toothpaste do you put on your toothbrush? Because we put, we fill the toothbrush with the...
You don't need.
You don't need that. The advertisement make you think you need to do that. So even starting by the little things, like why do we do this? So it's kind of like being anthropologic about how things evolve and question everything.
So what was your first artwork that you did a show with your photography? You did in London? Or?
Yeah, so my degree project was supposed to be a screaming camera. So I went around, it was after September 11, so everybody started to get paranoid about terrorism and all that. And I wanted to develop a concept of when you are a photographer, a lot of time you don't have a choice to enjoy the moment because you are behind the lenses. So I wanted to show the frustration of being a reporter and be behind the camera. So I went around many European cities with my camera and screaming on the top of my lungs. And then taking a picture of people when they turn
Watching
around.
And they were like, oh, she's crazy. Yeah?
Exactly, and it was the time of terrorism fear, so a lot of people start to yell at me and all that because they're
that
like
was-
hearing screams in the middle of the city. But yeah, it was great, but I gave up. I didn't finish it because it was getting really frustrating for me and I was getting things thrown at and all that. So I did a different project in the end, and it was called Perfect Smiles for Sale. So I took pictures, a portrait, like 36 portraits of people smiling, and then digitally I double half of their face, so you have a perfect symmetrical face. And when you look at all those portraits, it's a perfect smile, but it's not right, because you don't have the...
We are
Too
not
perfect.
We
Yeah.
are not symmetric.
Exactly, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's a question of the ideal of beauty and this thing we need to conform to, but when we really do, it's not right.
It's wrong. So
So art was at the center of your life for the first 10 years.
Yeah, still is.
Okay, still is. No, but in London, you stay in London. Okay.
Yeah, like I stayed in London until I graduated, and then I fell in love with the bass player of a Canadian rock band. And I went on the road
rock
with them.
and roll. Rock and roll is always good.
I want to be a rock
Never
star
die.
because all the girls love rock stars. I don't know what's going on. Why? What's happening with the rock stars? You have an explanation?
Well, actually, that was a very simple story. Like, I live next to a Calabrian neighbor, and he was like, my friend is playing this gig, we can get in for free, blah, blah, blah. And we went out, and I met this guy, and he's Calabro-Canadese. And we hung out, and then he came back home with us, and we had a really good time. And I didn't think he will ever call me again. You know, it's like a one-night experience and blah, blah, blah. And then the day after he calls me, it's like, I'm going to Calabria, you want to come with me? I'll send you the tickets to go. Sure.
Why not? Today, let's go south.
Yeah, and then I just kept traveling with them for a couple of years.
So where is your jump into traveling? You stayed in London, you stay on doing art, or you got another job? What went through your life after that art
Yeah,
experience?
so after university, I went traveling with the band. I moved to Canada. Then but my boyfriend at the time, he tricked me because he told me like, yeah, come to Canada, it's really lovely. And he took me there in the summer initially. Then when winter came and you have a shower and then the water becomes a stalactite of ice, I was like, no, I'm not gonna live in Canada. So after that I moved to New York for a short while, and then I was partying way too much and I needed to, just take a break from a very intense nightlife. So I went backpacking around Laos. Fell in love with the country. I decided one day I would eventually live there. But then actually I had a working holiday opportunity, so I moved to New Zealand for a year and a half.
So in Laos you did VMVN, that tubing, you
I
go
did
down
that
there,
as well, yeah,
and
yeah.
everybody's throwing bottles and you can have these cookies. And,
Yeah,
crazy.
it's a wild place.
I have been there.
Yeah, but after eventually I kept my desire, so I moved to Laos a few years after.
To
and
where?
then-
Luang Prabang?
No, I lived in Vientiane.
VMVN, oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I had a restaurant there for a couple of years, and I'm completely in love with the country.
Very soft, yeah.
It's a lovely, very relaxed place. Like,
But when you go to the machine bank, so many notes, huh? Because so much, no value for the money.
sure, yeah. The first year.
It's worse than Indonesia.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The first year when I moved to Laos, I found a job as an English teacher, which I never had any experience doing.
Yeah.
The interview went more or less like, do you have any experience working with kids? No. Do you have any experience teaching English? No. Do you speak English? Yes. Okay, you're hired. And my wage was, I think, about the equivalent of $1,500. And it was all in like $5 note. So I came back home
With a
like
big
with a
bag.
luggage every time they pay me.
Look like you robbed the bank. Yeah? So from Laos you went to New Zealand, yeah?
From New Zealand I went to Laos.
Okay,
yeah.
opposite.
Yeah.
So then you have Italy, or how we start that amazing experience, which is
The book.
yes.
Okay.
Can you
Darinka
show
is
the book to
she's
the
a
camera?
writer.
And see, yeah.
This is her first book.
Yeah. It will be translated in English soon, yeah?
Yes.
That's the idea.
It's already translated, just have to be
Walk
published.
about Italy.
And that's an amazing experience you decided to do after going around some places in the planet.
Yes. So the story is quite time warped because this is the first book, and that's the second one, but most of the story in this one happened before this happened. But anyway,
We like mixing and weaving life.
so what happened here was after Laos, I moved to Australia. I fell in love with another musician.
So musician is good.
I'm going to learn to.
What do you play?
And together we stayed in Australia, then we moved to Hong Kong for a short while, and then after that he really wanted to go to London. He was Irish, so he had this obsession of spending time in London and so on. So together we went back to London, but both of us were broke. He was like a busker playing in the street. I didn't have any savings. So I had to find a job that would pay the rent pretty quickly. And I just looked everywhere for jobs, and I found this ad that was saying we're looking for masseuses to work in casinos to massage poker players. No experience required, we train you. So I sent them a message, like, yeah, come on in for the interview. Again, no experience, they train me one day, second day they give me the certificate.
That's very professional.
Very professional. Yeah, they
Well,
give
you
me.
aspire, probably. You know what you're doing.
Yeah, well, I had a lot of massages done on me. So.
So okay. You have the experience of receiving.
Yeah.
Did you play poker and,
Yeah.
with a masseur?
It was almost like me when I learned massage, but this is another story. So
Right.
then,
So I started working in casinos. I did the job for about eight months. At the beginning, it was a lot of fun because it was a new environment and you get to see the player playing. And I quite like poker, so sometimes you understand what's going on.
it's a
in
lot
the
of
game.
bluff, yeah? It's a lot of
Yes,
bluff.
yes.
They put the dark glasses and they are like, they look serious.
Well, the good players don't even need the glasses. The good
They
players
know how to
just-
do it.
Yeah, they know how to
And
do
they
it.
treat the other.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, like I was massaging this guy. He is a like really
Top
powerful player. Like he's won like $1 million in Las Vegas at big tournaments and all that. And he was telling me like when in the casinos there are some players with a lot of money, the casino calls us and we go there as a gang. And they're not cheating, but they're kind of everybody's against the ones with the money, so they take home. The mission is to get that guy
down.
empty pocket. Yeah.
Okay. And so you were doing massage at the same time they were playing?
Yes.
So they are playing and you have need to.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
This is night and day. There
Night
is-
and day. Yes. Yes. 'Cause
So there is no sense of time. Yeah?
absolutely zero. There is no watches anywhere, and the light is always the same.
What did you felt after a while?
It's kind of similar of being inside the shopping mall. You know, the air you breathe is fake, the atmosphere is fake, and massaging people. Surely you know a lot about this, but you get the energy that they emit. And of course, like poker players, they're not the more relaxed kind. You know, maybe they
And they
look.
are fake also. They are faking the game. So
Yeah.
everything is fake.
So yeah, a lot of energy, a lot of time was okay, but some of the players you would massage them, you feel sick, like, oh my God, I feel so nervous after that, you need to go for a little walk. And I went for a long walk.
That's where it starts, yeah?
Yes, so when I started to do that job, after a few months, my ex proposed to marry me, and I was very excited about it, so I said yes. And about a month after that, he broke up with me without really saying why or what happened. And I was completely devastated, really heartbroken, and yeah, I had to keep working, so I kept going back to work. But yeah, I went into a downward spiral of drink and drugs, and one day I ended up falling off my bicycle, coming back from the pub after work. Fell off my bike. I actually don't remember the fall. I just woke up on a bench with a guy next to me, and he was like, I think you should go to the hospital. And then I looked down, it's like a pool of blood. And
So that one was the lower point.
that was the bottom.
And make you leave,
Yeah.
decide to leave.
How old were you those days when this happened?
33.
Okay.
Yes.
The age.
Yeah.
Yeah, the age of Jesus
Age of
Christ.
Yes.
So you are reborn from the cross, yeah?
Yeah, in a way, yes, for sure. There was a big resurrection after that. So I kept going to work for about a week after the accident. And then one day I looked down, I was massaging this poker player, he was one of the nervous ones. And I started to have this horrible feeling, everything spinning around, and I didn't know what time it was. And I just looked at my shoes. And I was wearing these shoes that says go walk on the shoes.
On
And
the
I was-
shoe.
On the shoes, yeah.
That's
And I
your
was like,
mantra.
Yeah, I was
And
like,
become
that's
your
a
mantra.
really good idea. Yeah, so then I start walking. Like I say to the guy, like, sorry, sir, I can't finish the massage. I need to go for a walk. And I just quit the job right there and then. I went walking. I walked from the casino I was in Marlborough Arch in West London. I had to go back all the way to East London. So I walked maybe, 15 kilometers in the night. And then as soon as I left the casino, the first sentence that came to me was one sentence from The Great Beauty of a movie. Jepka Bardella says, at 65 years old, I don't have any more time to spend doing things I don't like. And I was like, yeah. But why should...
I like that.
You were a little bit younger that time,
And
so...
I was like, why should I wait 30 years to come to the same conclusions, you know? So I thought, okay, I know exactly what I don't like, but in a way I felt like I'd lost my dreams, so I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So in that long walk, I started to go through to all my life since I was a kid, growing up and coming back to what I like to do. I like art, I like photography, I like writing, I love traveling, and I like being slow. I'm naturally pretty slow.
You don't want to rush things.
No, and even at school when I was a kid, I remember I always look out of the window and the teacher, she's like, time is money, time is money. And that sentence was so horrible and it truly traumatized me for many years. Like, oh, I can't be slow, I need to be fast because I'm wasting money. And then I realized, but wow, if I'm slow and time is money, I'm really rich. Yeah, so I decided to do this project combining all my passion in the slowest possible way. And that's how I came up with the idea of going back to Italy and walk the entire country, collecting people's dreams, because I felt like I found my own dreams. So I would ask people along the walk, what is your dream? What is it that you want to do with your life?
So where is your dream? That's a question you can do, right?
Yeah.
So and did you collect the dreams of people as you were walking through
I
Italy?
did, yes.
And you have like a dream that is a constant to many people, or people are really different and unpredictable in the dreams they have?
No, there is one dream that was coming back all the time. And at the beginning, I didn't understand it. Like, a lot of people wanted happiness. And I was like, wow, everybody wants happiness. It sounds a bit banal. But then when I was looking at all these happiness dreams, I was like, let me look on the dictionary, what is the antonym of happiness? And one of the many antonyms is fear. And then I understood what that meant, because I think my country, as many other countries, live in fear, because they are so manipulated by what the media portray or what reality is, that they actually lost touch with what reality really is. So they are scared.
So let me see if I understood.
Yeah.
So you say that most of the people, they say they want to be happy, it's a reaction to the fear
That's
that
what
they
I
are
think.
feeling.
Yeah.
That's your perception.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
And fear block them
Yes.
most of the time.
Absolutely. Like everybody I met as I walk were like, wow, you're so brave. What you're doing is really dangerous. Are you not scared? And in my hometown, we live in a safe town, but the next town is really dangerous. And in every town I went, everybody was saying the same thing. So I never encountered the dangerous town. Like, it doesn't exist.
So would you say that
The
people
dangerous town
regularly...
doesn't exist. Well,
Yeah. Do you feel that people are regularly, would you say that most of the people are nice in nature?
Absolutely, yes. In my experience, yes. Big time, no questions about it. Sure, maybe when you gather them in group and they pursue some ideology or some politics, it could get nasty. But if you get them one-to-one and you have time to understand where they're coming from, why they think that way, absolutely.
So you believe in humans?
No, big time.
Yes. So Marco,
fear and money are connected.
Fear and money.
People are fear, people need money, people are blocked by the idea of having money. If I don't have money, I cannot do anything.
Yeah, absolutely. In that sense, yes. When I decided to do this project, I didn't save a penny, and that's the reason why I did it without money. So I worked for 7 months without a penny. And at the beginning, I was like, wow, is this gonna work? Am I gonna get food? Am I gonna survive? Where am I gonna sleep? I had no idea how that would work out. But then conceptually, I was like, that really works conceptually. I felt like instead of selling something, like I'm selling or giving a chance to think about their dream. I'm giving a story in exchange for a plate of pasta. I'm giving a smile in exchange for a roof. You know, these are things you can't buy.
You bet on faith.
Yeah,
People, let's
solidarity, absolutely.
But just to make clear to our friend, Darinka decided at the time to, I don't know, you take a train or take a plane and go to Palermo, and then from Palermo walking up from south to
Oh, you
north,
started from the south of the boot.
Italy.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
from the Tibet
Of the boot.
Exactly, and
Yes.
then going up. How long it take you?
7 months.
7 months.
Yes, and there is a reason why I did it backwards. Actually, there is 2 reasons. The most important reason was I was afraid that if I would leave from my hometown and I change my mind, I'll just go back. But if I leave from
Okay,
the
you
opposite side of Italy, then I had
Get
no
far
money.
away,
Yeah.
as far away as possible.
So, I mean, as you
There's
are
no
walking,
way.
you are more near home. Yeah?
Yes,
So, like,
exactly.
I'm safer.
And now you get in touch. I mean, did you also open some like a social media? You have some connection, or just walk like alone yourself and each town looking for someone?
So I did a few things before I left. The only thing I had with me was an iPad with the internet for 7 months. And I opened a blog before I left, and I went to the local newspaper to tell them my story. And they printed
Okay.
that.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I had the paper clip of the newspaper. So I look more
To
believable.
present yourself.
Yes, yes,
as
yes.
a-
I'm not just a crazy random.
Walking
Yeah,
around.
I'm doing something that the newspaper is talking about. And
Also, so this is me. Give me a bed and food, please. Yeah.
that's not exactly how it worked, but sometimes I had to do
It
that.
helps,
Yes, it does. Yeah. So with the iPad, I use it for Couchsurfing. At the time, was a good service to use. People just host you in their house for free, and they're willing to do it. For me, it's a great way. Like now, I don't use Couchsurfing anymore. I use warm showers, but exactly the same concept is for cyclists. And I forced my parents to get on it. So my parents in Italy are hosting people through the same thing. And I think people who like to travel but don't have a chance to travel, is a great way to travel just by knowing travelers passing through your home. So my parents, for example, are in love with this. You know, they just
They
get.
fall in love.
Did you in certain moment, like you are expecting, if you have no money, so you will have a very small couch in a very poor place and a very small dish of food? Did you have the surprise of somebody with an amazing house say, "Come and stay in my place"? You had everything.
I had everything. It was unbelievable. Like I slept in couches in the corner or wherever. I slept in amazing villas in Italy. In Calabria, I was hosted by the Amarelli family. They make a famous licorice, and they host me in this massive villa with a swimming pool and fed me for 3 days. And because I didn't plan anything, everywhere I enjoyed the people, I stayed a bit longer. So yeah, it was.
So you feel that once you travel, you lose the sense of tomorrow. You live the moment. Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%. I
That's
think
the
that's the
beauty.
most beautiful thing about travel. You live in the present and you don't really worry.
I have a question for you regarding your decision of moving. Do you feel that once you decided to start moving yourself, were you escaping from the problems you were feeling back there in the casino, or you were moving towards freedom? You understand, it can be a mixed feeling, like I'm running away from something I don't like, or I'm moving in direction of something I love. Yeah?
Absolutely, yeah.
What's your feelings regarding that?
I think in that particular walk experience, at the beginning, it was very much like, okay, I touched the bottom, I cannot continue like this, I'm killing myself, I need to get out. And that was like a propulsion to start something new. then by the end of it, like, you know, because I was so heartbroken, so the beginning of my walk, I would listen, my ex was very much into Bob Dylan songs.
Calimero.
No, I was listening to like Bob Dylan and crying as I walk, like, oh, I'm so brokenhearted. At the end of the walk, I was able to listen to the same songs and just sing them and be happy. So I was healed, and I realized that what I was looking for was forgiveness, but not from others, from myself. It was the redemption walk. And that's where I found freedom, in my own forgiveness.
And you did it the same time as Jesus Christ walked on the cross. You can imagine, you did the same, yeah? Amazing. So maybe you are Jesus.
The redemption.
Well,
In the good sense, yeah?
And what about the book?
yes.
The idea came when you were working on, at the end, it was something like
So what happened was,
filter
I kept a blog, so I was trying to write as much as possible when I was not too tired, to share my experiences along the way. Because I met really amazing people with incredible stories, so I really didn't want to forget that. Yeah, like
Amazing.
powerful stories, like really strong woman fighting against the mafia, and like really powerful stories. So, and I showed like a side of Italy that is about solidarity. It's not the mainstream media narrative where everybody should be scared. So I opened this blog. It started to get a bit of a following, and by the time I arrived back home, I was contacted by a few publishers. I had absolutely no experiences in the publishing industry. I chose one that sounded okay for what I was doing, and I decided to publish the book with them. A friend of mine that was was a diplomat living in South Africa, asked me to go to South Africa to write the book. So I went to Pretoria and I stayed about 3 months, and I put the book together and it was ready to go. And then the publisher was like, yes, anyway, you're a female writer in Italy, don't get your hopes up, because you probably sell maybe 1,000 copies in the next 3
nice
years.
guy.
Yeah.
Very amazing
Very cool.
magician, that person.
And I was,
But he didn't know
Yeah,
who she was.
no.
It was another challenge, eh?
oh my God, it was, yeah, probably bigger than the first one. So when he said that, it pissed me off. It really pissed me off. There is no other way to say it. Like, it pissed me off because it's like, why does it have to be like that? The story is so powerful.
Mhm.
Italy needs this right now, like, you know, to start to believe in people and
In
get
what
out.
year
and
you were publishing the book? This year?
2014,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
And so I was in South Africa, thinking. I could not sleep at night anymore. Like, how do I get the message across? Then I started to visualize it, and I saw myself riding around Italy with a bicycle with a trailer at the back, taking my books everywhere. I was like, wow, that sounds crazy, but it's a really good
You
idea.
are a moving library
Yes.
with one book.
Moving marketing.
And that's what happened. So I wrote to a few bicycle makers, and in my vision, it was a bamboo bicycle. So I wrote to a few bamboo bicycle makers, and one of them from Savona, they replied,
There is bamboo bicycle.
yes.
Wow.
And they replied, they were super excited, like, oh, your project sounds amazing. I had done a TED Talk by then, so I was even more credible, let's say.
Okay.
And they were like, yeah, that's awesome, like, we make the bike for you.
Let's
And
do it.
yeah, but they also said, however, you are not masochist, so maybe it will be better if it was an electric bike. I was like, yeah, probably. So it was a bamboo electric bike with a chariot at the back in which I could fit about 60 copies of the book, and every time I ran out, the publisher would send me more. And I organized about 80 presentations from north to south and back. I cycled 6,000 kilometers to take my books everywhere, and I sold more than 1,000 copies in one summer.
Yeah.
Yes.
One thing.
Fuck the publisher, yeah? And
Yep.
she was like, oh, maybe you were lucky, yeah? What she said.
No, they
that
couldn't
said.
believe it, actually,
Yes.
because they went to reprint 3 times in one summer, because 1,000 was just the one I sold. So they sold, I don't know how many, in bookshops and Amazon or whatever. So they were, pretty impressed. Like,
So-
wow, okay, keep going.
So you start walking, now you are cycling.
Yes.
And what came after that? So as a way of moving.
Yeah, so after that, in that walk, I completely fell in love with Sicily. So I moved to Ustica for a few months, wrote my second book, and after that I was like, okay. Because when I arrived at home in the first story, it didn't feel like home. I almost felt like I wanted to continue walking.
Your
So-
home in north of Italy, your family house.
Exactly, yeah. I felt like I was more at home in the streets than I was at home. So I was like, okay, I kind of start to enjoy this cycling business. So why not?
I like this freedom. A little bit.
yeah, it kind of tastes
you
nice,
get, you
right?
get used by the end.
So this time I gave the bamboo bike back to the makers, and I got another sponsor bike from another amazing guy from Veronella near Verona, and he makes me my current bike as a normal iron bike and touring bike, and with that one I decided to cycle and sail around the world.
So now you are in Bali.
Yes,
Already 2 years and a half,
about 2 years.
2
yeah.
years. And from the bicycle to Bali,
Yeah, so what happened was I start my cycling and sailing adventure. I cycled quite a bit around Europe. I hitchhike a ride on a sailing boat across the Atlantic,
From where to where?
from Canary Island to French Guiana.
Whoa, that crossed the Atlantic.
Yes,
Wow.
yes.
It's a very difficult sailing experience, I heard. The Atlantic is not easy going if you are on a sailing boat, I mean.
Yeah. So in this cycling and sailing experience, I got 2 rides on sailing boat. The first one was from Gosport, south of England, to Portugal, and it was a tall ship because no small ship want to take someone with a bicycle because it takes up too much space.
Okay.
So they were all tall ship, and that was my very first sailing experience. We left Gosport at force 9. The sea was insane. The crew, it was 8 of us. They started to call me Baby Rhino because I could not stand. I would just go with my knees on the deck and
The boat was like,
yeah. But it was an amazing experience. It got quite rough. We got fog. We couldn't see, but the captain was incredible, very experienced, lovely man. And then from Canary Island, the second sailing experience was on this cargo under sail, so a beautiful concept. They take zero emission products from the East Indies back to Europe, so like coffee and rum and all that jazz.
sustainable. in a way.
Sustainable, yeah. And they had big cargo, so taking me with the bicycle was absolutely no problem. But I think it was their first, the boat is called Aventure. It was their first sail across the Atlantic. So there were a lot of technical problems. I think the owner of the boat was very low on cash because he invested everything on refurbishing the boat. So he didn't have much money to pay captains.
he's
or
a
crew.
dreamer, so not much money.
Exactly, but the captain was really worth the money was paid for. So
He was doing a great job.
yeah. So you know when you sail across the Atlantic, they say you go south until the butter melts. When it gets hot enough, then you turn, because you have to follow the trade winds, right?
Yes.
But the captain turned much more before the butter melt. So we were stuck.
You stuck
It took
in
us
the
5
cold
weeks, no wind at all,
In the middle of the ocean.
in the middle of the ocean. It was in a way a magical experience because
I guess so.
all my life I never thought in the middle of the ocean it could be so quiet. Like some days it was really like Avatar, you know, the fluorescent plankton and like the sea just flat like a mirror and the stars reflecting, and we were taking buckets of water out of the ocean to throw them back to see like the fireworks. So yeah, it was amazing.
That's nighttime, yeah?
Nighttime, yes.
Did you swim with that light?
No, no,
Okay.
Well, not from the sailing boat. I've done that, but from the shore.
So from that sailing thing, sailing experience,
Yes.
you arrived Bali once.
I arrived in French Guiana, cycled to Patagonia, then I
Cycled to Patagonia from French Guiana. So you did the opposite of Che Guevara motorbike, yeah?
yes,
That's crazy.
I
Yeah.
didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Show me your muscles. Oh my God. God. Yeah, big. And so, what was the experience of the bicycle through South America? That's not the easy
Amazing.
thing, yeah?
No,
like it's
yeah.
a different, it's more tough, yeah? Would you say?
For example, again, it was very random and not planned. So my best friend is Bolivian, so when I arrived in French Guiana, I was like, I need to go to La Paz to see my friend. I didn't really consider that you have to go through the Amazon, and it was rainy season, and yeah, totally random. Like I remember from French Guiana, the first country, you go to Brazil. And I was already using this warm shower website. I cycle at nighttime in a place called Macapá to go to my host. Like I had a guy, lovely guy with a super sweet family. It was Christmas Eve, and he hosted me and super lovely. And anyway, when I arrived, he's like, "Oh, well done! So happy to see you. Do you know Macapá is one of the most dangerous cities in the world?" Like, oh,
It looks
really?
fantastic.
And Brazil is one of the most dangerous countries in the world.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, I don't know.
never happened nothing that you
nothing.
can relate as dangerous.
Not in my South America trip. Like after that, I cycled from Louisiana to California and down into Mexico. And I have to say, Louisiana was probably the hardest
United
and more
States.
dangerous place I've ever been to. Yes.
Interesting.
And that was really funny because like a lot of people in the southern parts of the states, Louisiana, Texas, they're like, "You're going to Mexico? You're gonna get killed." I got to Mexico, they were the sweetest people, you know. Some people ran after me to give me Gatorade and tacos or cerveza, and yeah, very lovely
So you were
atmosphere.
like a version of Forrest Gump on a bicycle.
Kind of, yes.
Questa roba qua.
So I think we need to move now to this beautiful place where you live, which is Bali.
Yes.
And now, Marco, please go deep on that because that's where
But
we are.
Bali is where I met Darinka, maybe 6 months ago. And in Bali, you start to write another book. That's
Yes.
what I understand.
Absolutely, that's what
That-
happened.
That book is still writing or is wrapped it up?
That particular book is postponed indefinitely because I
Okay.
came here to write. So after that part of cycling and sailing around the world, I decided to stop in Bali to write it. And then I came here, my computer broke, the pandemic happened, and I didn't feel like writing about traveling anymore. So
So you stay in one island for a long time.
yes,
Now you are here for how long? 2 years?
2 years, yeah.
What's the feeling of somebody that was going all over the place and then suddenly?
It was very useful. It was very, very useful
It's
because
good to stop, yeah?
oh my God, like I don't think I ever went so deep inside me in my whole life. So these last 2 years have probably been the most useful I ever had. Because if there were many times I was like, wow, if I had a chance, I'll be in Kazakhstan on a bike right now. But I couldn't. So I have to work on myself and make other things happen and continue my healing process and try to know me better. And yeah, that's
Well, I think Bali is a very good place to do this kind of work. I mean, based on my experience. Also.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's been.
What do you feel about this island? What's your...
I think
Because it's the first time you are in Bali.
no. My aunt lives here. She's been here 20 years.
So you have been coming and going.
Yes, a lot of times, and I was missing Asia a lot. So when I came here to stay, initially was for 6 months to just write that book, and then the pandemic happened, and then I'm still here. I always liked it. I like the feeling of getting out of the West and realizing what really matters. You know, I don't think the scale of values in the West sometimes is realistic. And I don't necessarily say it is here, but at least it's different, so you can
You
start
have
to
a
think.
different angle. You
Yeah.
can see things in a different way. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. And you start to realize when you get frustrated because things might be too slow and all that, the problem is yours. It's not about the culture you're in. You have to deal with that.
No, I believe it.
Yeah. So yeah.
So what is your project going on in Bali? Because now we are stuck here in the good sense.
Yes.
Do you think this is a special place to live now that you were obliged somehow to stay more time? Are you acknowledging things that you were not acknowledging before you were coming to visit your
And
aunt?
yeah.
And what you are doing now? What's going on? What's your project now?
Yeah, so I finished writing another book that is coming out on the 20th of September. The title is Ballando nel silenzio, Dancing in Silence, and it's about the last 2 years of interior travel. And so that's coming out soon. And then I also realized I'm not too sure how much I want to go back to the West at this moment.
We need to do another episode in a couple of months.
But yeah, so I met a man I'm madly in love with, and
This man is there from Finland.
The Finny boy.
The Finnish boy. And so with this inner travel, somehow you found love.
yes, and I found a healthy love. This is,
Why is it healthy love? It could be like, it's a healthy love. Why?
because I tend to go for recreating the same traumas that used to be in my family. That's the way humans work. It's not. I don't think it's just me. I think we try to recreate family traumas. And I really feel this time, no, it's not happening that way. So I feel it's a healthy love. We got cats, and we're building a tipi in the...
So that just to finish, I think the most beautiful thing is that tipi concept.
Yes.
What is behind it? Because it's just, it's cool to do a tipi. What's there? Why this project?
Okay, so we have a teepee, like an Indian American tent, and we are building it off the grid near the Batukaro Mountains in the middle of the forest. The concept of it, well, first of all, to live sustainably, so no electricity, just live off nature. We use the water from natural source next door, and we grow plants all around it. But more than that, the concept is Maya, so like a place to play. Kind of recreate the theater of life in storytelling. So we're gonna fill the place with instruments, marionettes, puppets, and it's a good place to share stories, just like we're doing now, around the fire in the evening, and just enjoy each other company without looking for our ego reflection in the black mirror.
So the storytelling around the fire, it's easy, the idea in the beginning, which is what we try to do with the podcast. So I would like to, maybe we have already the time off. You want to do some other question, Marco? You are outstanding.
We are going
what?
to
When you can read the book, Amazon, yeah?
Yes, Amazon, yes.
Amazon! Come, buy the book! You have 2 books in Amazon from this amazing woman. Here it is, cheap, yeah?
Yes, very cheap.
We have a commission on this.
We're gonna put all the information at the bottom in the description.
So, Nas, thank you for coming. Mark, thank you for coming. Alberto, I love you. Thank you. Thank you. Your name, please, again. Becco, the love of her life. Simonetta, Teresa, Mango Django. Thank you so much.